My husband's sister got a backyard party with tents. I got a pizza and a paper plate. They said it wasn't a big deal. Just a casual dinner. Just family. But the balloons, the tent, the lights, they were all for her. And when I opened the drawer in the kitchen, I found something that made it all make sense. Too much sense. That was the moment I knew I was never the guest of honor. Not in their house. Not in their family. Not even in my own marriage. I'm not sure what hurt more, the party they gave her, or the silence they gave me. No card. No sign. Just a cold pizza box and a plastic smile. I wanted to believe it was a mistake. That they forgot. That they meant well. But that drawer? It told the truth. The money was mine. The celebration, hers. And the man I married? He signed it away like it meant nothing. Like I meant nothing. That night, something cracked. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just enough to let the light in. And once I saw it clearly, I couldn't unsee it. I wasn't part of their plans. So I started making my own. I wasn't born into money. Or expectations. I paid my way through school, scholarships, late-night shifts, and tutoring jobs on weekends. My family? Blue-collar, proud, and emotionally distant. I'd hoped marriage would feel like building something new. A chosen family. A softer place to land. His name was Daniel. Smart, dependable, kind, in a quiet way. He wasn't flashy, but he remembered small things like how I liked my coffee or which hand I used to twist my hair when I was nervous. His mom, Evelyn, was warm at first. The type of woman who smiled wide and hugged too tight. She said things like, "You're already part of the family, and you're the daughter I never had." I believed her. We got married at City Hall. No grand wedding. Just the two of us, his mom, and my best friend. Evelyn cried more than I did. She said she insisted on paying for the dinner afterward. She didn't. But I let it go. Daniel and I moved into the upstairs unit of their house, temporarily, just until I finished my degree. That was the plan. Evelyn offered it, said it was silly to waste money on rent when there was space. At first, it felt fine. Cozy even. She cooked dinner most nights. We sat together, laughed at dumb TV shows. I thought we were close. But slowly, the cracks began to show. Her youngest, Rachel, Daniel's sister, lived 2 streets over, but practically camped at the house. She'd waltz in without knocking, leave makeup all over the downstairs bathroom, eat leftovers I was saving. And Evelyn encouraged it. When Rachel broke up with her boyfriend, Evelyn called it a crisis and gave her our grocery money so she could feel normal again. When I brought it up to Daniel, he shrugged. "It's just family," he said. "She's going through a lot." And when I got accepted into grad school, the congratulations felt hollow. Evelyn said, "That's amazing, but are you sure it won't be too much?" Rachel chimed in, "Grad school? Sounds exhausting." Then they asked what was for dinner. Still, I pushed through. I commuted to class, studied at night, juggled a part-time job and house chores. Daniel helped a little, but mostly I carried it. Evelyn often said things like, "It's great you're doing all this, but don't forget to be a good wife." Rachel once joked, "You're so type A, must be exhausting to live like that." I laughed. It wasn't funny. I worked hard. And then I worked harder. We had a joint savings account, something Daniel and I opened together. I put in most of the money, from side jobs, scholarships, and even a tax refund I should have kept for myself. I called it our moving out fund. I was 2 semesters away from graduation, and we had almost enough to finally leave the upstairs unit behind. Then Evelyn announced Rachel was launching a small business. Handmade jewelry. She's an artist, Evelyn beamed. She just needs a little seed money. Family supports family, right? I looked at Daniel. He didn't say anything. That weekend, we threw a birthday party for Rachel in the backyard. It was over the top. A giant white tent, fairy lights, a drink station with cute signs like Sangria Station and Rachel's Rose. Evelyn gave her a gold bracelet, said it was a symbol of belief. I gave her a gift card. She said, "Thanks," without looking up. Nobody asked me about school. Nobody asked if I had finals. Or deadlines. Or how I was managing work in class. I smiled. Took photos. Cleaned up trash when the party was over. Daniel and I climbed upstairs that night in silence. I remember thinking, maybe next time will be different. Maybe when I graduate they'll see. Maybe that'll be the moment I'm not just Daniel's wife, not just living upstairs. Maybe I'll finally matter to them. I was wrong. But it would take 1 pizza box and a locked drawer to prove it. The week leading up to my graduation was quiet. No one brought it up. Not Daniel. Not Evelyn. Not even Rachel, who now called herself a founder on Instagram and had started tagging all her jewelry photos with #GirlBossEnergy. I picked up my cap and gown alone. Took the bus to campus. I didn't expect a parade. Just maybe a ride. Or a "you must be so close now." But nothing. Daniel had started working longer hours, at least, that's what he said. Evelyn was busy planning Rachel's latest brand launch. Me? I graded freshman essays and reviewed PowerPoints in between night shifts at the tutoring center. I kept thinking, it's okay. They'll come around. Maybe they're planning something low-key. A surprise dinner. A card. Something. I told myself not to expect too much. But even low expectations can be disappointed. Graduation day came. I left the house at 6 a.m. Daniel was still in bed. Evelyn was already downstairs, making waffles for Rachel, who was complaining about a bracelet order gone wrong. Nobody looked up when I walked out the door. The ceremony was beautiful. The sun came out. My name was called. I crossed the stage with my heart pounding, my eyes scanning the crowd, just in case. No one waved. No one clapped. I smiled for the camera anyway. My phone buzzed after. A text from Daniel. Congrats. Proud of you. Want pizza tonight? That was it. No flowers. No dinner plans. No voice. Just pizza. I took the long way home. Stopped by the lake. Sat alone on a bench in my gown, holding my diploma like it meant something. When I finally got back, there were no lights strung up, no banner. No welcome home, grad. Just Evelyn in the kitchen, holding a pizza box like it was a birthday cake. Happy graduation, she said, too cheerful. She opened the box. Pepperoni. Your favorite, right? Rachel didn't look up from her phone. You're lucky, she said flatly. Daniel wanted to just do McDonald's. I stood there, still holding my bag, still in my gown, like a guest in my own life. No one offered a plate. There were no drinks. No napkins. No toast. Just pizza. And silence. And the sound of golf playing on the living room TV. Evelyn must have seen something on my face. Because she grabbed a squeezed bottle of ketchup from the fridge, squirted out the word congrats on a paper plate, and added a little crooked heart. There. Now it's festive, she said brightly. I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I sat down. Took a slice. Pulled out my phone. Snapped a photo, me, the pizza, and the ketchup plate. Captioned it, "Dream big, kids." Posted it. Nobody noticed. Not Daniel. Not Evelyn. Not Rachel. They just kept eating. Kept scrolling. Kept pretending nothing was wrong. That's when I excused myself. Said I needed fresh air. Instead, I got in my car and drove. Not far. Just to a cheap hotel near the freeway. I checked in using my emergency card. The one Daniel didn't know about. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat on the edge of that bed and stared at the wall. I'd worked. I'd waited. And for what? A pizza. A paper plate. And a ketchup heart. I didn't sleep much that night. The hotel mattress was thin, and the AC rattled like it had something to say. But I didn't care. The silence was better than the noise I'd left behind. In the morning, I went back. Not because I missed them, but because I needed to grab a few things. My laptop. Some paperwork. Maybe a clean pair of jeans. Daniel wasn't home. Evelyn was in the backyard watering plants. Rachel was still asleep. I moved quickly. Packed a bag. Grabbed my charger. Then I remembered the drawer. There was this drawer in the kitchen, bottom left, under the junk drawer. Evelyn always said it was for family documents. Growing up, my mom had a drawer like that too. I don't know why, but something in me said, check it. The drawer was locked. Of course it was. But I remembered where she used to hide the key taped to the inside of the spice cabinet. It was still there. I opened the drawer and started flipping. Old tax returns. Utility bills. Insurance papers. Then I saw something with my name on it. A savings account statement. It was our joint account. The one Daniel and I opened to save for our move. But it had been drained. Not just dipped into emptied. I stared at the page. The withdrawal was made 2 weeks ago. Signed by Daniel. The memo line? Family contribution. Startup. My stomach dropped. I kept flipping. Next page? A business registration form. Rachel's name. Evelyn's name. Daniel's name. A family LLC. They'd use the money, my money, to fund her jewelry business. No one told me. No one asked. All those nights I skipped dinner to save. All those weekends I worked double shifts. Gone. Repackaged as support for someone who couldn't even look up from her phone on my graduation day. I didn't cry. I took out my phone, snapped a photo of the papers, and slid everything back exactly how I found it. Then I locked the drawer again. Quietly. Like I hadn't just buried something, but something in me was done playing quiet. I didn't confront them. Not yet. I didn't yell. Didn't slam doors. Didn't throw the drawer open and demand answers. That's not how this part goes. Instead, I left the house like nothing had happened. I smiled at Evelyn on my way out. She asked if I wanted leftover pizza. I said, maybe later. She laughed. I didn't. I drove straight to a FedEx store and printed everything. Bank statements, signatures, business filings. I highlighted names, circled transfer dates, labeled every page. I wasn't planning a tantrum. I was building a record. Then I moved the remaining money in my personal savings to a new account, one Daniel didn't know about. Next, I pulled my name off the joint utilities. The Wi-Fi, the power bill, even the Netflix family plan. I changed every password, email, student portal, even the streaming apps we shared. Clean break. Back at the hotel, I stared at the ceiling for a long time. Not sad. Not angry. Just calculating. That night, Daniel texted, "Everything okay?" I didn't respond. He followed up with, "When are you coming home?" Home. That word hit differently now. The next morning, I called my advisor at school. Told her I might need a few days extension on final papers. She said yes before I even explained. Sometimes you don't need to say everything. Some people just hear it. I spent the day organizing files. Drafting a letter. Not to them, not yet. To me. It wasn't dramatic. Just a list. Reasons I stayed. I thought they'd see my effort. I thought marriage meant loyalty. I thought being useful would make me belong. Reasons I'm leaving. I was useful, but never valued. I gave everything. They took more. They didn't forget me. They never considered me at all. That night, I drove back one last time. Waited until I knew Daniel was still at work. Evelyn and Rachel were gone shopping, probably, for more supplies for the jewelry business. I went in, packed the rest of my things, left the spare key on the counter, and next to it, a manila envelope. Inside, the printed documents. On top, a single post-it. You didn't forget. You just didn't care. I didn't wait for anyone to come home. Didn't leave a note. Didn't say goodbye. I moved into a short-term sublet across town. A studio apartment. Tiny, old, but clean. The landlord didn't ask questions. I paid the deposit in cash. The first night there, I sat on the floor with takeout and no furniture. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt still. Daniel called. Then called again. I let it ring. He left a voicemail. "I don't understand. Can we talk?" Talk? We'd been married almost 3 years. And in all that time, I don't think he ever really listened. 2 days later, I got a long email from Evelyn. It was half apology, half guilt trip. She said I'd taken things too far. That we're a family, not a business. Funny, that's not what it looked like in the documents. Rachel posted on Instagram. People get bitter when they're not the chosen one. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The next week, I started sending out resumes. I wasn't just walking away from a marriage. I was walking toward a life that didn't require permission. One of the jobs was out of state. A position in Denver, academic coordinator, decent pay, small campus. When I got the interview, I booked a flight the same day. Daniel still didn't know I was gone for good. But I did. And that was enough. The morning of my flight, Daniel showed up at my sublet. I hadn't given him the address. He must have gotten it from our old landlord. He knocked, soft at first, then louder. I opened the door just enough to see his face. He looked tired, confused, but not sorry. "Can we talk?" he asked. I let him in. He looked around the empty apartment. No couch, no bed, just boxes and takeout containers. "You really left." I did. He rubbed his hands together like he was cold. "I don't understand." "Why now?" I tilted my head. "Did you read what I left on the counter?" He nodded, then shrugged. "You should have said something. If you had a problem with the money, we could have." "No," I said. "You signed it without asking. That wasn't a mistake. That was a decision." He sat down on an overturned laundry basket. "It wasn't just mine to give," I added. "That money was ours. Mostly mine. But you gave it away for your sister." "She needed help," he said. "So did I." Silence. He looked up at me then, like he finally saw me. Not the version of me that smiled at parties or kept the fridge stocked. The version that was done. "You don't have to leave like this," he said. "We can fix it." I shook my head. "No. You want to fix the discomfort, not the damage." He didn't respond. I handed him a small envelope. Inside was a single photo, me in my graduation gown, sitting alone on the hotel bed, holding a slice of pizza. On the paper plate beside me, the ketchup still read "Congrats." I'd written one line on the back. "You knew, and you let it happen." Daniel stared at it for a long time. Then he stood. "I guess you've made up your mind." I made it up the moment I opened that drawer. He lingered in the doorway. My mom's devastated, he said. I'm sure she is, I replied. She lost a helper, not a daughter-in-law. He blinked, like that hadn't occurred to him before. Then he was gone. Later that night, Evelyn left a voicemail. Her voice trembled at first, then hardened. You twisted everything. That money helped Rachel launch something. You could have been proud of her. Proud? Of a business I unwillingly funded? Of a family who threw my graduation in the trash while ordering custom cupcakes for hers? No. She ended the message with, if you walk away now, you'll regret it. Families don't bounce back from this kind of betrayal. That word again, betrayal. As if I was the one who emptied the account. I didn't call back. Instead, I turned off the phone, sat by the window, watched the lights of the city blink like slow, steady heartbeats. My flight was in 7 hours. I wasn't packed, but I'd never been more ready. I boarded the plane before the sun came up. Window seat, middle row, no checked bags. Just one carry-on, my laptop, and a quiet sense of closure. By the time I landed in Denver, I had a dozen missed calls. 3 from Daniel, 5 from Evelyn, 1 from Rachel, a text that simply read, wow, real mature. I didn't reply. 2 days later, the email hit. Not from them, from Daniel's aunt. She was one of the few who always treated me with basic decency. She wrote, I don't know the full story, but I saw what you left behind. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. Attached was a screenshot of the family group chat. Rachel had tried to spin the story, calling me unstable, saying I ran off with money. But then someone dropped the receipts, the bank statements, the signed transfer, the LLC paperwork with Daniel's name in bold. It spread faster than Evelyn could contain it. Apparently, the birthday party Rachel had been planning, a big launch event for her jewelry line, got canceled. Not for budget reasons. For attendance. Cousins bowed out. Friends ghosted. A few even commented publicly on her Instagram, saying things like, hard to celebrate when you stepped on someone to get here. Rachel posted a selfie the day of the party, still dressed up. But the background was empty. No crowd. No tent. Just her and a cake. Daniel's name disappeared from the business page a week later. Evelyn deleted her Facebook for a while. And me? I started my new job the following Monday. Small office. Friendly coworkers. A break room stocked with real coffee, not instant. On my second day, someone brought donuts. They offered me the first one. It was such a small thing. But I nearly cried. That weekend, I moved into a tiny apartment near the foothills. The view from my window wasn't much, just a parking lot and a dog park, but it was mine. I sat on the floor that night, scrolling through my photos. Old ones. Ones of me carrying Rachel's boxes. Helping Evelyn cook. Daniel asleep on the couch while I graded papers next to him. I deleted them all. Not out of anger. Just space. I was finally making room for the life they never let me have. A month later, I got a letter in the mail. Not an email. Not a text. An actual letter, cream envelope, formal handwriting. It was from Daniel. Inside, 2 pages. Typed. The tone was stiff. Measured. He wrote about how much he regretted how things unfolded. How he never meant for me to feel excluded. How he was trying to do right by everyone. There was no apology. Just explanations dressed up as empathy. The last line said, I hope you find peace in whatever you choose next. I folded it once and dropped it in the trash. Because peace wasn't next. I already had it. Weeks passed. I built a quiet routine. Early mornings. Long walks. Late night books with tea. No voices in the next room. No guilt. No gaslighting. I joined a community class. Watercolor painting. I wasn't good. But no one expected me to be. I made friends. Real ones. Women who didn't compete, didn't compare, didn't demand pieces of me I wasn't offering. One Saturday, I got coffee with a woman named Janine. Mid-40s, newly divorced, sharp sense of humor. She asked if I missed them meaning the family I left. I thought for a second, then said, I miss the version of them I thought existed. She nodded, like she understood more than I said out loud. That evening, I walked home slowly, stopped at a thrift shop and bought a used frame. At home, I printed out a photo, me on the hotel bed, slice of pizza in hand, and the ketchup plate that said, congrats. I hung it by the door, not out of bitterness, but as a reminder of who I was, of what I lived through, and of the day I stopped shrinking to fit inside someone else's celebration. Because in the end, it wasn't about the party. It was about being seen. And when they refused to see me, I chose to see myself. Fully. Finally. Unapologetically.